And next we have joining us number 2 ranked UFC featherweight, Brian Ortega. Hi, Brian.
Hey, what's going on?
First off, we are going to kick you off with Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Oh. I know it's been kind of a crazy, basically 2-year stretch for you from the Holloway fight till now, and I'm sure you've talked about this ad nauseum, but how does it finally be back? Has it been frustrating being out this long? Have you just kind of had to roll with the punches as it may be? How does it feel to finally be back?
It feels great, man. In the beginning, after the fight, right, you're like, I need a little break from MMA right now. And then when I got the break, I was like, all right, I'm ready to go back in. I mean, everyone's been watching the whole stories, basically know what's going on already or what happened. But yeah, man, I'm excited to be back. I'm happy to be back. It was a good thing for me in my career. I can just relax for a little bit. I was working nonstop for a long time. So it was like my mind, my body, everything needed to chill. My family, needed to see me a bit more and like basically reconnect with me because I was just had the blinders full on. But now they understand again, and I'm back on the fucking horse.
This might sound like a weird question, but very rarely do we, get to where you were at in your career and stay undefeated. It's just a rare thing in the sport. You had to deal with your first loss. How have you dealt with that first loss and coming back from that? Was it were you able to just put it behind you right away? Did it take a little while to kind of wrap your head around the fact that you had a loss? Like, how did you come back from
that? Day by day, dude. Literally. I mean, you see, you lose whatever, and then you kind of understand you lost the day of the fight, and after it kind of sinks in a little more, then a little more, and then finally you're like, you know what? Start looking at all the good things about everything. Then you start understanding the nature of the sport, how it goes, and then you just kind of fucking let it go. And that's kind of what it was. I just went in there and accepted it, let it go, and a positive way in order for it to allow less pressure to come into my life than more.
Throughout your career, Brian, you've always been a pretty late, I mean, as a compliment, but, this fight with Zombie has, seemingly gotten very personal. Obviously, we know the incident that happened back in March and just a lot of the trash talk that's been said. Would you say this has been a more personal fight than you've been used to, or is it personal for you?
No, it's not personal, man. Not with him. No, I mean, yeah, it's not even personal. Saw him the other day, nothing happened. I didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. If it was personal, we would have jumped at each other, It was just something that happened, an incident that was done on my part. And yeah, just a way of shutting up the trash talk.
Coming back into such a high-profile fight, still being ranked number 2 in the division, is the end goal always going to be the title? Do you even think about that now? We have a new champion in the division. This is obviously a pretty high fight, for rankings. Do you feel that way? Saying that, hey, I could jump right back into the top fight right now. Do you even think about that?
Yeah, this fight for me was not even more so trying to just get a top the bat or something, right? It was more like, all right, you took your break, you did everything, but also it's like, I'm not trying to come back and take an easy fight in. I've never once in my life took an easy fight. If you watch my entire career right off the bat, my second fight in the UFC was against Tavares, who had more fights in the UFC than I had in my career. So I've never looked to take an easy fight, nor am I ever going to start to look to take one. For me, it was like, all right, who's the baddest motherfucker right now, who's on fire and who we can fight. All right, then we looked at Korean Zombies on a win streak, and then all of a sudden the internet somehow tangled us together, and then the world wanted to see it fight, and then everything happened, and now it's like, yo, these guys have to fight. And now I want to fight them. So that's basically what happened, and it's a good test to come back, solid guy. As for the title, I'm just working my ass off. I'm training hard, and obviously that's all here, right? To be the number one guy, but also myself also with all the good people, you know. So it's like it's an interesting mix that I have in my head going on. But yeah, man. You're welcome.
And next, we have Carlos Contreras with Milenio Diarra.
Hola Brian, ¿me puedes escuchar ahí?
I don't speak Spanish.
You suddenly forgot about Spanish? ¿Cómo estás, Brian?
I was trying to skip one interview. ¿Cómo andamos?
Bien, bien, todo bien. Quería preguntarte sobre el estilo de Zombie, porque me imagino que has visto las peleas con Leonard García, con Jair, que son unas guerras de las mejores que ha tenido la división. Incluso él terminó en el hospital con los dos. ¿Te imaginas una guerra así también con él por el estilo que tiene, por obviamente que le gusta ir siempre adelante?
Sí, pues claro que sí, esta pelea en donde es una pelea fácil o una pelea donde ninguno de nosotros nos vamos a dañar. Esta va a ser. Y pues obviamente, yo creo, ojalá que la Abu Dhabi tenga buenos hospitales porque yo creo que los dos vamos a estar ahí para el fin de la noche.
Cuéntame un poco, la gente se pregunta qué ha pasado en estos 2 años, cambios en tu campamento, una pelea en San Antonio que probablemente estuvo cerca, la de México, Corea. ¿Cómo fueron estos 2 años para ti con tantos cambios y tantas peleas que no se pudieron hacer?
Pues obviamente me frustré porque no podía encontrar mi manera en cómo entrar otra vez de nuevo. Estaba pensando que pues toma tu tiempo, relájate, deja que todo se, pues, se compongan y todo. Y luego, al fin, todo el proceso de encontrando un equipo, encontrando a la gente correcta para el trabajo y que buscan honestamente lo mejor que es para mí, mi carrera. Otra cosa, pero sí, con tiempo y todo se solucionó. Tenemos un equipo grande con managers, entrenadores, con todo, tenemos todo ya. Estoy feliz, contento con mi equipo y pues ponemos el trabajo. Sabemos que la pelea el año pasado no pasó por otras cosas que pasaron durante un entrenamiento y luego pues nos superamos de eso, pasó el coronavirus y luego ya aquí estamos. No me frustré tanto, al contrario, tomé eso como una oportunidad para ponerme más cómodo con el equipo, a conocernos mejor, a entrenar más duro y cosas que teníamos que mejorar, pues tuvimos más tiempo para hacer eso y eso es lo que hicimos.
Finalmente estuviste en México como invitado, pero sé que tú querías estar en esa pelea. ¿Cómo te sentiste esa noche pues ya de sentir todo el ambiente en la arena y no poder pelear frente a los mexicanos, frente pues en la tierra de tus padres?
Pues se sintió, pues cada vez que vas a cualquier evento en México, obviamente te la pasas bien a gusto, te diviertes mucho. Tenía unos amigos ahí en la Ciudad de México con que estuve toda la semana. Pero sí, mirando las peleas y diciendo, man, si yo estuviera aquí, estuviera bien padre, bien chingón. Y pues sí, le estaba pensando si iba a pelear al coreano. Me ha gustado mucho, especialmente enfrente de toda la raza, toda la gente, pero no pasó. Pero todavía me divertí, todavía comí un chingo de tacos. Ah, bueno, pasé bien a gusto, de todos modos.
Suerte, Brian, y ojalá que veamos una buena pelea el sábado.
Gracias.
And next, we will go to Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press.
Hey Brian, how are you?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Doing good, thank you. I want to ask you because leading up to your last fight, people would argue you're the most popular fighter who wasn't a UFC champion, and you're getting a lot of attention. I want to ask, do you feel like you still get that love from the fans? Because no matter what, you bring up Brian Ortega, a lot of people still get excited about talking about you.
Yeah, man, I feel like a lot of people, they still, who see me, they still love me. Some of them are a little bit upset recently due to my, which I cannot blame them for. Um, but I feel if I had to choose and put both sides on a scale, I still say I'm more loved than I am hated.
I want to ask, I know everybody must bother you every day about your Modelo commercial and if you've made choices lately. They haven't played it in a while. Do you wish they would because you got a fight and you could get more attention, or do you like that you're getting some space from it?
Well, I don't know if you know the way the deals work with commercials, but they do a 1 year deal with them, and they play it out for 1 year and then it's over. So my year was up, and that was it. Now the next commercial, I think it's with Amanda. Yeah, it's with Amanda, and now it's her year for the commercial we ran. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't mind it being played, but it's not my turn now.
Understood. Out of curiosity, I feel like this had come up back in April before the pandemic and everything. Were there serious talks to have you fight Zabit?
Were there?
To fight Zabit in April? Was that ever a discussion?
Oh, there wasn't. I just looked at my
Gotcha.
manager and said, "Were there?" And he said, "No."
And final question, we know you talked about moving things around in terms of your camp and your circle. Can you talk about which team you brought with you to Fight Island?
I brought Tiki Gossin with me as a manager, Jason Park as a Muay Thai coach, Jesus Avila as a boxing coach, Dr. Andy as a mad scientist behind the entire group. Henry Gracie had to stay behind because his swab tested positive for the Rona. And I brought my friend Dean Wellen just to keep me company, have fun, and bullshit around. And Paul Herrera for wrestling.
Hey, thank you, Brian. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll go to Sumagata from Sports Kita.
Thank you. Good looking out now. I was like looking at everyone in the room. I was like, wait a minute.
So Miki, you're
Can you hear me? Hey Brian, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Just throwing the shit out of my eyes.
Okay, so it's been 2 years, almost 2 years now since we last saw you in action, and since then you have had a change in training camp as well. So how has been the preparation for you in this fight, especially given the situation with the pandemic?
It was fun getting my team together and getting a whole group of people to work with each other and connect and get on the same page. And then finally, the pandemic obviously was another thing. So we had to adjust according to the way we could during everything. We had to get people tested. We had to shut the gyms down. We had to do private sessions only, one-on-ones, no partners. Then we had to get more people tested. Then we had to keep more people honest with how they live their lives. So we don't get it while we're training. And it was very tough, man. You know, you had to limit your partners. You had to test everyone. And even when you test everyone, you still couldn't count on them because people are seeing people and people are seeing other people and everyone wants human contact. So, it's a little risky thing, but we did it, and I'm happy we're here now. Corona free and ready to fight.
So this will be your big return to the UFC, but does it somewhat bother you there won't be any fans in attendance for this fight? For your return fight?
Nah, man, I'm all right with it. I'm used to fighting in the silence, so it's easy for me to do it.
So a few days back, Korean Zombie, he issued an apology saying for all the trash talk he did towards you. Now, in this lead up to this fight, I know there has been a lot of issues between you two guys, but does his apology somewhat change your perspective towards this rivalry, or is it just still the same for you?
It was never a rivalry, man. Uh, it was never a rivalry. I just kind of just he talked his shit and I talked my shit, but it was more like if that's how you're gonna be, that's how I'm gonna be. And then when I made it clear, if you really want a rivalry with me, this is how it's gonna get down. Then we heard all the apologies, so it was kind of just shut down, and that was it.
So, the last time you fought Max Holloway, he still was the champion, featherweight champion. Now there's a new champion, Alex Volkanovski. I know your focus is on Korean Zombie for this weekend, but do you have any thoughts on him as champion?
I have thoughts on everybody in the division, Thoughts on him, obviously, of course. He has the belt, which means he has the target on his back, which means we're training for everyone now. We're training for guys that are like Zabit, guys that are like Korean, guys that are like Holloway, guys that are like Volkanovski. From now on, we have a whole team designed to fight and train for the top people in the division.
Okay, last question from me. So, how do you see yourself winning this fight this weekend?
But whatever I can take.
Okay, good luck to you, sir, and thank you.
Thank you.
Last questions for you will go to Augusto Nezque from Somos MMA.
Brian, ¿cómo estás? Voy a volver a hacerte hablar en español.
Hey, ¿cómo andamos?
Todo bien. Brian, te quiero preguntar justamente, recién comentabas que Renner Gracie dio positivo por coronavirus. ¿Cómo afecta eso el viaje? ¿Están manejándose a distancia? ¿Se complica un poco?
No. Si había una persona en que no podía poder venir a este evento, fue bueno que no fue él, porque de todos los artes que tengo, la herramienta que tengo dentro de mi edad para esa pelea, el jiu-jitsu es la que necesito lo menos. El jiu-jitsu lo sé muy bien, lo entreno cada día. No es algo en que necesito a alguien que me siga recordando durante una pelea. Bueno, es triste porque es un amigo y es un compa y todo, pero al fin del día tenemos que trabajar, tenemos que hacer lo que tenemos que hacer. Y si va a haber un tipo de consejos que no voy a escuchar, que yo ya los conozco, va a ser el piso, lo que es todo el jiu-jitsu y la pelea de lucha. Y pues sí, me siento obviamente triste por él, pero está bien.
Perfecto. Y también, Brian, recién hace un ratito hablabas de haber perdido el invicto. Quisiera saber si ahora te sentís más tranquilo, sentís que te has quitado un peso de encima, que quizás no hay tanta presión a la hora de pelear.
No, pues sí, obviamente se quitó esa presión. Am, cuando, cuando ya está tu carrera sin derrotas, amateur y profesional, te sientes invencible, te sientes como que nadie te puede tocar, pero ya sabes, en este deporte pasa un día donde todos tienen que agarrar su primera derrota. Y es lo que pasó y ya sentí todos esos sentimientos, ese proceso, todo ese viaje de regresando y arreglándote y pues me siento bien a regresar y estar más libre ahora sin esos pensamientos que me sigan picando la mente mientras estoy peleando.
Bien. Y te quiero consultar con respecto a la pelea, ¿de qué cosas crees que tenés que cuidarte del Korean Zombie y cuáles son las claves en tu juego, digamos, para llevarte la victoria?
Pues tiene una presión llegando adelante, pero una presión calmadita. Es peligroso en el primer asalto y tiene pega tiene un buen golpe donde te taranta, pero no te noquea. Eso significa que tienes que tener cuidado y sobrevivir, ¿verdad? Si te pones en una de esas situaciones de jiu-jitsu y todo más, yo creo que yo lo tengo.
Y te consulto, teniendo en cuenta a futuro si conseguís la victoria, se está hablando de una tercera pelea entre Volkanovski y Holloway. ¿Qué pensás al respecto? Y si crees que de obtener la victoria tendrías que ser el siguiente en pelear por el título.
Mi trabajo ahorita es pelear de lo que está pasando. Va a ser de mi manager. Y confío en él y todo lo que él puede hacer. Y pues por eso no me estoy preocupando. Y si tengo que esperar por esa pelea, pues esperamos. Me voy de vacaciones, voy a México, como un chingo de tacos. Y luego regreso y entreno.
Perfecto. ¿Qué enseñanzas te dejó la pelea con Max Holloway? ¿En qué te ha ayudado a mejorar?
Pues en todo. Él obviamente enseñó muchos huecos en mi juego. Y pues ahora entrené, mejoré, preparé. Y ahora estamos aquí listos para enseñar al mundo que soy un peleador diferente de que vieron la última vez.
Perfecto. Y para cerrar, Brian, te quiero consultar cómo estás sobrellevando allá la diferencia horaria, el clima, la comida. No sé si hay tacos allá en Abu Dhabi.
Ningún pinche puto taco hay aquí, men.
Bueno, después de la pelea seguramente vas a preguntar. Brian, muchas gracias
Sí,
y lo mejor para el fin de semana.
gracias.
And thank you, Brian. That is all we have for you today. Good luck this weekend.
All right, thank you.